Hey, everybody, I'm Kelly Hogan, and welcome back to my Zero Carb Life. Today, I am bringing back a guest that you may have seen about a year ago. Her name is Carmen, and our Monday morning group has been blessed by this woman for the last 2 years. And I invited her back because she has some updates, and I thought I would ask her to sort of refresh us on why she started Carnivore and what's happened for her since she began and what's been happening in the last year. So welcome back, Carmen.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
So if people haven't met you before, introduce yourself and why Carnivore?
I've been an ICU nurse for over 20 years now. I've been overweight my entire life,
Mm.
and I started my journey back in 2023, and then I joined your group in 24. To date, I've lost 166 pounds. It's a
Oh,
big change, yeah. And I started my journey only because I was at a point in my life where I had been seeing a nutritionist for over a year, and I just knew that the amount of carbohydrates and the eating, it just didn't feel right. And I stumbled upon a Dr. Boz video about doing a 3-day sardine fast,
hmm.
which also led to some Dr. Berry stuff. And then I also saw your content. And I thought, well, I'm going to just do this. And I went from a 3-day sardine fast right into eating ribeyes for a long time and haven't looked back and started losing weight, feeling better. No more anxiety meds, no more blood pressure meds. And I was on two. I was pre-diabetic. I'm down to like 5.4 on my A1C.
Awesome.
All the markers that we talk about in our group have
Yeah.
steadily gone down. Another big problem for me was when I got my first COVID shot that was mandated by my employer, I came down with tinnitus almost immediately.
Mm,
And it took several months, but carnivore cured that for me.
amazing.
And now it's a sign of inflammation. And I experience that when I either come across a spice that doesn't work for me or dairy doesn't
Oh,
always work for me. So love the heavy whipping cream, but doesn't love me back. So it's just been an amazing journey since then. Mental clarity, increased activity. I got back on my bike last year, which I had not been on for years. And then this last November, I decided I want to start scuba diving.
so cool. Awesome. I remember when you
And
told the group that this was like a dream.
it is a
A
dream.
dream.
My brother and sister-in-law who travel the world are master scuba divers, and I thought, wow, wouldn't it just be something if we could do this together as brother and sister and sister-in-law? And so you have to study, and I went to the first pool session and really struggled
Mm.
and knew that I had some work to do. So I didn't pass the first time. Decided to join my local YMCA and uh, swam constantly with my fins, my boots, which are surprisingly heavy,
Mm.
and my mask and snorkel just so that I could learn to breathe continuously and slowly while movement. And I did that, I think it was until January, February, and we went in again, and I passed this time. Now it's time to graduate to going out to the open water. You've got to do a series of dives out there. I live in Puget Sound, so the water is cooler. There's a lot of gear involved. I don't think people realize that all said and done, you could be packing an extra 80 to 100 pounds. After two attempts, I called it off. I could tell I was hyperventilating and not doing well.
Mm.
Then immediately came home, reevaluated my choices, made a call just spontaneously to a dive shop in Florida, and she took the call after hours. We clicked immediately. The next thing I knew, I was on a plane to Florida and got certified. So I'm now certified. And it's an amazing feeling when something clicks in your head that this goal that you set out to do,
Mm.
you finally accomplish it, and it gives you a new perspective on what's important and what you're capable of achieving. And I think that's the biggest thing is when you're so caught up in I've got to lose weight, I've got to do this, I've got to look like this, you forget that you're cutting yourself off to opportunities that don't necessarily require that you get to those goals first.
Yeah. So are you
And
saying you got scuba certified before hitting goal weight?
absolutely. And in the pictures you will see, I've got rolls, I've got a ways to go, but I started at 385.
Yeah,
So
you've come a long way, sister.
I've come a long way.
Yeah.
And, you know, I needed to close the loop on showing myself that I could dive in my home backyard. And so I did that yesterday. And it was a lot of work, but boy, it was fun.
Wait,
It was
you did what yesterday?
I dove yesterday in the cold water. So,
Oh, you've got like literally in your backyard a place where you can.
well, I mean, I called the Puget Sound my backyard because
Okay.
we're right here. So,
Yeah. So
yes,
cold water
it
yesterday.
is cold water. And went out with a great group of people who are so supportive that you can't, it's just mind blowing. And my husband went with me. He was the best shore support ever. And putting on that weight again was daunting. I for people who don't dive, you have to control how you float in the water and move through the water with buoyancy, and that is weight controlled. And the tank and all the gear yesterday, I think I clocked it at 80 pounds. And it was
Which, by the way, is only half of what you used to carry on your body all
exactly,
day, every day.
exactly. So it's crazy. So anyway, so the first thing I did when I got home, of course, is I talked to my family because they all knew I was going. And then I posted late last night, totally exhausted, but um yeah, so it's been quite a journey. I've totally enjoyed being a part of this group.
Yeah.
And when you talk about the support that you get from community, I know I didn't used to think that that was important, but I found that it is important because uh, you have to have somebody that you can share your successes, your failures, your questions with. Because mainstream medicine, mainstream diet culture, I think right now it's leaning more towards our choice in lifestyle.
Yeah.
But before, like you said, with all, I watch all of your content and hear all the stories of the people who have joined you. It's the support is getting better, but it just hasn't been there before. And you can forget about trying to go see, from my point of view, a nutritionist that's going to tell you that carnivore is okay.
Right. That they are very few and far between. That's the truth. We just had a group member say that she went to her nutritionist and was telling her it could have been a functional medical doctor slash nutritionist. Okay. So she was going to her about maybe a supplement or something and was explaining to this woman how much better she feels, how carnivore has, like, she's getting her life back. And this nutritionist said that I won't be able to continue working with you eating this way. And the quote was, I'll work with you when you are ready to eat normal food. Normal food. Isn't that like
It's mind-boggling.
it
I
is?
I've only had one physician, for lack of a better word, be on my side. And that
Mm-hmm.
was recently. I went and saw a pulmonologist. I still have sleep apnea. But I'm hoping to retest to see where I'm at because when I first tested, my numbers were unbelievable. And I told him I've changed my lifestyle. I started out very vague, whole food, exercise, no medication for me. And it took him a few minutes, but he finally pinned me down. He said, "What exactly are you doing? Because you're about the 1%." And I said, "I only eat meat." And he looked at me, he goes, "No vegetables, not even a candy bar once in a while." And I work with this man because he worked with me in critical care, and that's where I still work. He goes, "Not even out of that candy basket that's there?" And I said, "Nope, don't touch it." And he's like, "Well, I don't know what you're doing, but carry on, you know."
That's what should be said. I
Yes.
don't understand, even if they say, I don't understand it. I would have
Right.
never thought to do it this way, but I'm looking at a human in front of me who's thriving when they weren't before. And that's
Exactly.
what blows my mind. In addition, on this whole normal food thing, I mean, meat is not a new product.
No,
It's, it's a
no,
one ingredient growing just on the earth animal that God placed here that people have been eating about as long as we've been peopling, Like to
definitely.
say that that's not normal food is wild to come from a nutritionist. But you have somebody who sounds like is at least able to look at the person in front of them and say,
Right.
I'm happy that you're doing something that works.
I think if I had stated I was on a medication or I was on just whole foods, calorie deficit, however you want to word it, nobody asks you questions. I don't push the issue unless somebody says, "What do you mean whole foods?" And then I'll say, "Well, one whole food,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
animal protein, that's it."
More specifically, there's one. Yeah.
So it's I still get eyebrow raises
Yeah.
from folks, but I'm also noticing that I have some colleagues that are coming to me now saying, "Hey, I started carnivore. What what is your, what can you recommend?" And I just start with a whole list. I start with Judy Cho's book, first of all. That book to me, yep,
My
I
laptop sits on it.
yeah, I start with that. I start with the usual, like Dr. Barry, Dr. Sean Baker, who lives in my area, you and a few others. The younger ones all seem to know who Jordan and Michaela Peterson are.
Yes.
And I say just start with this, see what you think, and then, approach it how you want to. I know one guy, he has lost like 80 pounds. I have another friend who his A1C, he came to me, he said, "My A1C is 13.9." He said, "So I'm starting carnivore." He's gone into it hard, but he's doing well. And then I've got another friend who started because his psoriasis were so bad.
Is it helping?
It is helping.
Awesome.
So, but yeah, it's been an amazing year, but also the last 6 months have just been so incredible. And it's not all rainbows and unicorns
Mhm.
either. I mean, there are tough days. I still have lizard brain days where I get cravings, and I think that will take a long time. I mean, I'm 3 years in.
Yeah.
It still takes time. I sympathize with folks who struggle, and I think that the video that you posted last week about folks are getting frustrated, but they're not trying all the tools that are available to them and staying consistent. My heart hurts for them, but I also want to shake them.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not going to do this, you can expect results.
Right.
So, but
Yeah. And sometimes they'll say, but it's very hard. And it's like I just a part of me thinks, no, I understand addiction. It is hard. But also when it comes to, okay, but I need to do this because what I'm doing now is not okay. It's not sustainable. I'm hurting. I'm miserable. Every month, I think most every month you've been in the group, you have shared a list of things that you used to suffer from. And so
yes.
like, no one would want to take that list back on.
Mm-mm.
So, I mean, your consistency has been incredible. And I think it's partly because your desperation before starting was incredible.
Definitely. It's a hard subject to talk about because I am a nurse and I work in intensive care my whole career. And when you see people at the end of the road
Mhm.
and you look at yourself and realize that could be me in 1 week, 1 month, the amount of people who are so sick from metabolic dysfunction and disease, you really see it up close and personal, what it does to you long term.
Mm.
And it's so sad. It's infuriating also because, unfortunately, medicine follows an algorithm and it just hasn't changed in a long time. I think it's coming around. We're starting to see some changes that I think will help in the long run,
Mm.
and which I'm grateful for. But it's going to take time.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things that I see, and it's easy to say this now, but I was in the same boat. A lot of what I see and experience myself was within one's power to change.
Yeah.
But if you're desperate or you don't know where to start, it's hard to go there and figure out what to do.
And the uphill battle of
It,
expecting people to make the change, which is already hard, but when they have a doctor in their ear who's also saying that this isn't a good thing. I mean,
right.
talk about conflicted. I was very fortunate to have a doctor who told me to do this.
Yes.
Most people can't even believe. They're like, "Did you really find a doctor back then that said that?" It's so unheard of.
Hmm.
So then to go to your doctor, say, I'm hurting, and maybe you heard someone, maybe it was Carmen, y'all. Maybe you heard someone like Carmen say, wow, this changed my life. So you go talk to your doctor and they say, oh, absolutely not. Do not try. It's dangerous. It's no wonder people struggle.
It can't be more dangerous than what you are doing.
Yeah.
And it's hard to see, but it also humbles you because you have this empathy of where people are.
Mhm.
Um, and you get excited for them when they start to see the subtle changes. And I
Yes.
think that's another, big message too. You can't be in a hurry. The metabolic changes, depending on how much you've struggled with and been fighting, take time. And I'm at a point now also with the weight loss. I stalled again for a couple months and now I've had a little bit of a drop. And I know my body, I'll stop again, but it's not my focus right now. It's the consistency.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding. I'm sure I'll send you the picture. On my treadmill for the last 2 years, I have a sign that says, you showed up, keep showing up. And the other one says, what is your why today? So this goes back to the foundations that you teach also, that I didn't believe in the beginning. But when you start talking to yourself out loud and asking yourself those questions or making that statement, I literally say it out loud. And sometimes I sing it out loud in this goofy voice. It's like, you showed up, you're going to keep showing up. And I use the statement, I am. I am staying consistent. I am getting healthier. I am going to become a scuba diver. I
Mhm.
am going to. So it's that mantra of saying that it clicks somewhere in your brain that you're going to do it.
Yeah, you're not playing a role anymore. Because
Not
at
playing a role.
first, yeah, at first, sometimes we make a change and it feels like I'm putting on like this little show for myself and it doesn't stick. And then at some point, like, no, I, you identify as a scuba diver.
Right. I
Yeah.
identify as a carnivore.
Yes.
I identify as a nurse, a mom.
Yeah.
And that's, like I had said before, if I had waited my entire life until I got to this goal or that goal weight, I wouldn't be a mom, a wife,
Mhm.
a nurse, now a scuba diver, you know. And I say scuba diver very lightly because I've only got like 5 dives under my belt. But but just to get there, my husband said yesterday when I came out of the water, he could tell I was totally exhausted, but he said, your face.
Oh.
was so lit up and it's all scrunched together in this hood. So it looks pretty funny. And he's been my greatest cheerleader and not my biggest convert, but getting there. He saw the progression that I was doing and he decided to join with me. He's not as strict as I am. And I should mention too that, and this goes back to addiction. My husband is an alcoholic in the state of recovery
Mm.
for over 16 years
Oh.
this last time. And then before that, it was several years before he had a relapse, but then stopped again. And he finds himself sometimes on the weekends when I'm working, straying to places like ice cream and
Mm.
sugary snacks. And it's kind of a joke between us because we track each other's phones and I can see where he's headed and I'll send him a text and say, don't do it. But he does it anyway. And then he has osteoarthritis. And so he feels the big flare up come about 2 days later. And we talk about it. And I said, it's almost like you're binge drinking again because you're going for the same feeling. And he's like, you're right. He said, I've got to remember that. And so he's working on reminding himself like what he's doing. And I don't past it because I didn't ask him to join me on this journey. He just kind of hopped on because it's what's available in the house. But so he even recognizes that that addiction part of your brain can get woke up very easily by sugar, alcohol, drugs, whatever the choice is. So, um,
Yeah, if he had been used to getting a dopamine hit,
mhm,
this happy, feel good, calming, soothing distraction,
mhm.
and then the alcohol is gone, and now the sugar is gone.
Yeah.
People are left feeling a little like a kid without their lovey, you know?
It's hard. It's hard. It's hard to get yourself to a place to find a replacement. And there's no other word for it that I can really think of, an outlet,
Yeah,
something for it. It's hard. And I don't deny that it's not hard. And I still struggle with it sometimes too. That's why I have to avoid heavy whipping cream because I can feel that part of my brain wake up
right.
and I'll get the cravings. And then, you're online and those reels come up with this, the food eating and all these things. I have to get off because that will even trigger me.
Yeah.
I've also found that I personally can't do the flavored seltzer waters.
Oh,
They
okay.
trigger me.
Too close to sweet.
Too close to sweet. It's
Yeah.
like, like what am I looking for?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm looking for a replacement. So I can do plain, but I just can't do the flavored ones. So it's like I said, I really empathize for folks that are struggling, and I still struggle too. I don't, like I said, I want to emphasize that I still have days where I struggle, and I don't want to do things sometimes, but I think staying consistent and having rules for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
just every day goes by, you can mark off, oh, I did it. I did it. And the commitments that people post online, it's inspiring to watch them as well. So I don't share my everyday commitments like some folks do. I just like to share the updates. And my story, like you said, doesn't change much month to month. It's just easier to put the same stuff back in, but with some different pictures, maybe. So,
Absolutely. I get excited for that list every single time. And your post does change. Your photos change and there are little updates and tweaks. But
yeah,
that
yeah,
list of the things that you have that you suffered from that you aren't suffering now, it
right.
gets me just the happy chills. When you
Yeah,
said earlier, and now I've been scuba diving, I get chills and I know maybe more than the people who are watching because I remember when it was just your dream. It was just a hope for someday. And I remember when you came back disappointed after that first test, when you said, I didn't pass, but it's okay. And I thought, you've tried more than most people. You said, I've only had 5 dives. I bet it's five more than 99% of the people watching this video.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. When you talk about posting your commitments every day, I do post every day, but I also understand why you and some others don't, because it has become a habit. We are doing it every single day. And I encourage the newer folks, if you have added something new to your monthly commitment list or your habit tracker, it really does help to post it every day just to say, I did it, it's done. And then once it becomes a habit, like if I go to bed at night and I realize that I haven't practiced my box jumping, I mean, I'm out of bed. It's like, oh my gosh, I didn't do it because it has become such a part of just the day. And I know it must be done. And it's awesome when you realize, oh, I'm not having to force it anymore.
Yeah.
It's just what we do.
I I do the same thing. I shoot for a minimum of 10,000 steps a day, but with everything else that I'm doing, if it's just the minimum for the day, that's fine. But I have been known to hop on my treadmill at 9:30 at night in my pajamas
Same.
just to get 10 more minutes in to just finish it off. The one thing I am struggling with too right now is committing to like regular strength training.
Mm,
However, I choose to work out my yard very vigorously,
yeah.
um, and lift heavy grass bags and things like that a couple times a week. Plus, yesterday was definitely leg day with lifting those tanks and all those weights. But I really like the fact that, and Dr. Barry was one of the ones that turned me onto that, was move your body, lift heavy things. And I've heard you say the same thing. Just go lift some heavy things.
Yeah.
Like go grab a yard brick and walk it back and forth in your yard 5 or 10 times, or a gallon jugs of water.
Yes.
Those make great for farmer carries. I've done
Yes.
that too, just up and down my little drive 5 or 10 times. That's all it takes. I can tell I'm stronger.
Whenever
And
you
I
decide.
had a lap band.
Okay.
I had previously had a lap band. There's cheats around everything, right? And I eventually had that lap band. That's another reason I gained so much weight, got way up to 385, was I had that thing taken out because it was giving me some problems.
Oh,
Guess I should have started with that, right?
that's all right.
I forget about it because it's been a while, but I had it taken out because it was giving me some problems. Gastric surgeon said we should do a sleeve. I said, no, I'm not doing that. I see the other end of that when people come in with all these malnutrition issues. I'm not doing it. He said, you're going to gain a lot of weight. And I said, probably. And I did. Of
Oh.
course, backtracking my story, that's when COVID also hit. And then I started seeing the nutritionist and had that year of just no success. No, like knowing that I wasn't getting anywhere with a calorie deficit and way too many carbs. I mean, 45 grams of carbs per meal and 2 snacks.
Mm.
I knew I couldn't wrap my head around it. So,
So that when you were 385, that is post lap band. That is
mhm,
working your tail off with a nutritionist,
for a year,
trying so hard for a year to stick to a calorie deficit and follow her orders.
mhm, couldn't do it.
385.
Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Hungry all the time,
Yeah.
never feeling satisfied. So, yeah, I never knew what satiety signals were
Mhm.
until I started carnivore.
Mm.
And when you don't know that you're missing something and then you experience it, it's like, oh, that's what people say when they're satisfied.
They go, "Ooh, I can't finish my food. I'm full." Was always a mystery to me. What
Absolutely.
does that mean? Yeah, and now you're right that
Yeah.
the leptin signaling is there where you can go, yeah, I think I've had enough meat. I'm
It's
good.
not even a stuff feeling. It's just all of a sudden a switch turns off.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, this is interesting.
I'm not ravenous. That's wild.
Right. But I do have on that note, I do have ravenous days and
Me too.
I just go with it.
Mhm.
If I'm hungry, I truly believe if you're hungry enough to eat like make yourself a can of sardines or cook a steak or whatever,
Yeah.
then you are truly hungry. And I do have those days, and I usually notice it right before a whoosh comes.
Oh, interesting.
So I don't know if like my body's like, okay, and then I'll get the little whoosh of weight loss. And
That's cool.
yeah,
Do you track food?
I do. Oh, absolutely.
Hmm.
I am an avid tracker. I still weigh and measure my meat just to make sure. I fluctuate between 60 and 80% fat.
Okay.
And it's just whatever works for me in the day. I don't set up a plan for that.
Yeah.
Some days I crave chicken. Some days I want all steak. It just depends. Um,
I actually think that's a great strategy. And that bodies don't always want 80% fat or always want 60% fat. And that when you have a day where lean meat sounds good, have some leaner meat.
that's exactly. In fact, I just got done eating chicken before we started talking. Yesterday I ate light because I knew I was going to be diving, but this morning when I woke up, I had a big old piece of chuck steak because I was
Yeah.
very hungry. But
Yeah.
yeah, I weigh and measure. I think it's important for me because it also helps my years and years of distorted portion sizes,
Mhm.
so that I can see. And I'm not saying that they're normal sizes. I'm just saying that it helps me see what portion sizes are.
Yeah, I get that. Do
Because when I,
do you
sorry,
tend to undereat if you don't pay attention, or do you tend to overeat, or you just never really sure?
it can go either way. When
Uh-huh.
I first started your group, I did not realize that I was an undereater.
Yeah.
I'd been stalled for months, and we did the TDEE together.
Yes.
We talked via email, and I think I was short like 500 to 600 calories, something like that.
Mhm.
And so you gave me some strategies on how to kind of increase. And I did that, and then I started to lose again. I generally stay right at 2,200 calories a day.
Okay. That's cool.
But could I cut? Maybe. But, and so, like some days I come in under, some days, like I said, when I'm hungry, I go over. Even though I measure what I'm consuming just to make sure I'm staying on track, if I'm 200 to 300 calories under or 200 to 300 calories over, it just depends on how I feel for the day.
Yeah.
My biggest thing is I don't want to feel after I think everybody's gone through this that has dieted and done the calorie deficit for years. I don't want to feel hungry, or hangry,
Yes.
and I don't have that now.
Mm.
If I'm hungry, I eat meat. If I'm not hungry, I don't eat. I stop snacking. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
I don't feel guilty. No more guilt.
No more guilt. If you are hungry for meat, you eat meat, you document how much it was.
Yes.
Great. I think that the data, sometimes people think tracking equals restriction. Tracking can just mean, well, first of all, for a lot of people, they need to track to make sure they are eating enough. And
Mhm.
I remember when you and I talked and you said, I've had great results for this year, for a year,
Mhm.
but the results stopped. I stopped losing. And we talked about, well, what are you eating? And you gave me, us carnivores, we tend to repeat days a lot.
Mhm.
So it's
Yes.
not like saying, oh, well, I ate wildly different Monday than Tuesday than Wednesday. It's like, no, it's pretty much the same. And when we looked at it, we realized, oh, you are in quite a calorie deficit off of your TDEE. And the red flag always is you're eating in a deficit, but it's not working. Nothing is
Mhm.
happening. And a lot of times that comes not just with stalled weight. We talk about this a lot in class. It comes with poor moods, poor sleep, low energy, sometimes hair loss, coldness, brittle nails. And it's like, oh, we got to fix that deficit.
All
So
of the above.
all of the above.
I had all of the above, all of the above, the hair loss, everything,
Yeah.
the low energy. Yeah, it was all of the above. And just slowly started increasing. And I don't even think it took like 3 weeks. And I just like felt immediately better. The
Yeah.
rest of it took some time, obviously, to correct. But yeah.
It's like your body just takes a sigh of relief when somebody says all of these symptoms. It just screams thyroid, right?
Mhm.
Thyroid, your thyroid is struggling. And one of the, well, Judy Cho, speaking of her, Judy Cho and Danny Conway have both said the number one reason that people's thyroids are struggling is chronic under eating. Our thyroids just, they require us to get enough, not just macronutrients, but micronutrients, just overall fuel. And I remember being so relieved, so happy that just a few weeks later, when you came back to the group and said, well, I've been slowly doing what we call a reverse diet, slowly
Mhm.
increasing your intake. And you said, I'm feeling better. And you're not going to believe this, but the scale is moving. And don't we hear that almost every session? You've been in the group now 2 years.
Yeah, over two. I think I'm coming up on 3 in September.
And we hear it frequently. You aren't like a one case freak anomaly of
Mm-mm.
I needed to eat more meat in order to get better results.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. The theme is there, and it's just when people get to it in their own time.
Mm.
And just because things have gone fast on some things for me doesn't mean, again, like you have pointed out, it's going to do it for the other people. All we can do is share through experience
Yep.
and hopefully have people see that you do have to stick with it. And I tend to get a little, I don't know, tough. That's the mom nurse in me, I guess. You have to put the work in.
Yep.
You have to put the work in, and sometimes it has to be said assertively and harshly, but with love. You have to put the work in. And sometimes there are no shortcuts. And the yes, you can try the tricks of not tricks, the strategies of like a fat fast or a sardine fast or going the lion version, things like that to kind of either speed up or help with some healing or ferret out what doesn't or does work for you. But if you only do it in if you do it inconsistently and then you're already inconsistent, it's not
Yeah.
it's not going to help. It's
Yeah.
not going to fix it. Carnivore wasn't the problem. It was and you have to own it. If I'm not consistent, I have no one else or nothing else to blame but myself.
Mhm. The swings that I see sometimes from I went back to carbs and junk over the weekend, and maybe it was even keto junk, but in my book, I'm sorry,
Mhm.
it's still junk. Okay.
Been there. Mhm.
Yes. To then the swing of, oh, I've got to fix this. So sardine fast. To then, oh, I'm so sick of sardines. So back to some carbs. It's like, oh my gosh, let's just get some middle of the road, consistent every single day, putting nothing into our mouths that will cause harm. And then once that foundation is there, sure, try try a sardine fast if you like, right? But you didn't lose 166 pounds because of cheating, going off plan, being inconsistent, and then throwing in sardine fasts.
Right.
No.
No, no. And like for me, dairy isn't a cheat, it's a choice.
Mm.
I
Oh,
like
I like that. Hold on. Let's
yeah,
not just let that simmer a second. Not just with dairy,
yeah.
anything. It's
It's
not
a
a
choice.
cheat. It was a choice. Believe
It
me,
was a choice.
that could put it on a t-shirt.
It was a choice. When I was in Florida, and I finished my certification, I went and got a very nice steak, and they had some very lovely raw goat cheese.
Oh.
And I made a choice
Mhm.
to have some, and I Oh, it was delicious and I enjoyed it. That being said, the next week I felt it. I hung on to some weight. I didn't gain any. I could just feel it. My ears rang just a little bit, not a lot. And I knew I could pinpoint it. I knew exactly what it was.
Yeah.
So, but in the moment, it was a nice little celebration. It was fine. I documented it all. I travel with my food scale.
Yeah.
It fits fine with my electronics. I even posted that I like bought an air fryer while I was down there and cooked my food. You do what you have to do,
That's
but
right. Yeah. Is
yeah.
it even a vacation if you don't have your air fryer? I mean,
I don't
it's
know. I have a gray tote, an old gray tote that's 100 years old, and it goes our air fryer and our coffee maker. If we can fry a steak and make our own coffee,
a beautiful life. It's a
it's
good day. You
it's a
got
great day. I could cook a steak anywhere.
absolutely. Hey, you
So,
mentioned community before and how exciting it was. I am so honored that you told your family about your scuba diving and then you came and told your little meat family. It's
definitely.
it's so it just makes me so happy to hear that. When I first found a carnivore community, it was called Zeroing In on Health, and I would post there every day. And one of the main reasons that I had started doing carnivore was because I wanted to have my cycle so that I could have a baby. We had been trying for a couple of years, nothing was happening. And I was like, oh, I just want a baby. The amount of joy I felt when I found out the plus sign that I was
Mhm.
pregnant, I could not wait to get on that computer. I think I probably told them before I even told my parents because, I kind of wanted to do like a big reveal kind of thing.
Mhm.
I couldn't wait to go tell my little meat family. And that is a beautiful part of having your people who understand.
Definitely. I don't even I have like Facebook because I'm in your group and then also a work group so that we can communicate for things like that. But I don't normally post to my own account.
No.
I just don't. So yeah, and I even did an Instagram today, and that's daunting. But I'm not very tech savvy on that stuff. But I thought I'm going to make an Instagram post today, so I did. But
That's great. I'll have to go check it out.
I
So
think
you're
I
not
can.
you're not very tech savvy, but you have managed to make it on. That's one of the number one reasons people will comment on YouTube videos to say, I wanted to join your group, but I don't like Facebook and
Mhm.
I'm not very technologically informed. And I'm like, oh, well, I send you a link. You just click it.
Definitely.
Facebook can be a total time drain. It can.
I can.
But I don't go over there to scroll through any time feed. I go over there for our group. I go over there and see like-minded people. And so it's not a time drain. It's motivating. It's helpful. And yeah, we answer questions and help each other out and you're good to jump in there too.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, I do have to watch myself. It can sometimes I can get kind of lost in it. So,
Yeah.
but I have to wake up from it and say, no, let's go hop on the treadmill for 10 minutes instead of
Yeah.
doom scrolling or something. Especially, like I said, when things come up with people eating all kinds of food. I think they call it mukbanging. I'm just becoming familiar with the term now, but see
I
how
don't
behind I
I don't
am?
watch that stuff either. If it's
I
carb,
have to, you have
mm-mm.
to go buy it because it will suck you in and then it will trigger you.
Yeah. And you're not talking about on our page. We don't do any
No,
carbs on
absolutely
our
not.
page. Just, yeah,
Yeah,
it shows up in the timeline. You're like, I'm not even
yeah,
following this stuff.
right.
Why is it here? Yeah, I talk about this in our group a lot. I'm really careful still to protect what I smell, see, think about, and dwell on. I'm not going to watch the carby commercials or look at those recipes. I'm not going to, walk slowly by any bakery. I still treat myself sort of like your husband probably has to do. He doesn't go hang out in bars or watch a lot of liquor ads. No, we know what it did to us. And so
Exactly.
we have to be
Exactly.
cautious, protect
You
ourselves.
do. And I think the longer you do it and it comes back to consistency. The more
Hmm.
consistent you stay, the easier it gets. That's why in the morning I have a strict routine that I follow before I even have coffee. And that came back to some of the strategies that we came up with when I was under eating.
Yeah.
I wasn't eating breakfast. I was just drinking coffee in the morning. And now I'm pretty regimented, like, don't get in my way. I have to do these things because I really want my breakfast now.
Yes.
I want my breakfast. And that is usually my biggest meal of the day now.
I think it's an awesome strategy. And there's quite a bit of research showing if you kick off the day, that's your biggest meal. You tend to have less hunger throughout the day. You tend to stick to your eating plan. This wasn't like carnivore research, but your eating plan, whatever that is, better throughout the day if you kick it off with a really good breakfast.
Definitely, definitely. I do the 10 minutes of 10 to 20 minutes of walking after 1 to 2 meals a day, depending on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And that was a game changer also for me. I noticed like more consistent weight loss.
Mm,
And I still do it even when I have my little stall periods. I think my stalling for the last couple months has been related to this anticipation of getting this certification and a couple other life events. And now that I've done that, you can kind of
yeah.
feel it.
Yeah.
Just preparing for the next thing that comes up, I guess.
My weight will stall right before a big speaking event. If I'm headed to a Hack Your Health, or I shouldn't say stall, my weight goes up. I'm not currently trying to lose, but my weight will go up. It's like I'm doing the same things. I know that my body is just holding on to stress. Maybe cortisol is up a little bit, nerves, anticipation. And then, yeah, after it's over, there's always like oh, whew, okay, back to where we were. Fine. And you just sort of learn that through the years. It happens. Hey, I think big takeaways here for our undereaters. You had to fix that.
Definitely. Had to
And you
start eating breakfast. Yep.
start eating the breakfast. Make sure that you're tracking to make sure that you're where you need to be, your little happy sweet spot. Um, Dairy, you know that you feel it in your body immediately.
Yep.
Your consistency in the things that we all know good and darn well will pay off, like avoiding sugar, not part of the time, every day, all the time. You are
Yes.
carnivore every day, all the time. And
Yes.
you take your walks every day. You walk after your meal. If something comes up after this meal, we get right back on after the next. You and I both know that there will be days or meals where you can't, but for the most part, we can. So we do. I love it wasn't a cheat, it wasn't a slip, it wasn't anything. It was a choice.
Mhm.
That's what it was. It was a choice. I chose to eat cheese when I was on vacation too. I knew I wouldn't feel as good. I knew the scale would be up. It was. It was a choice. I think that's a really important thing to own. And then just the message of giving it time. You're gonna have times where you're not seeing tons of benefits and tons of weight loss and tons. It's just, hey, this is what got us to this far.
Mhm.
So we're gonna keep going. And we're gonna wait for the good times to roll again. But in the meantime, we're not going backwards.
Mhm.
Never backwards. I love
Definitely.
you, Carmen. You bring so much to my life, to our group, and now I know that those watching are going to be blessed by you as well.
Well, I appreciate the kindness. It's been wonderful. Your group has been amazing. Stick to the strategies. It just stick to the even if it's only two or three, and just for the day. My husband lives one day at a time.
Mm,
That's been a mantra in our house for 16 years with his sobriety. And it really does come down to that. Just one day at a time,
yeah.
1 minute at a time, sometimes 1 second at a time.
Yep. That's right.
It, you just get through the day, and then you start fresh the next day.
Yep. Love it. Love you, sister. I'll see you
Thank you
Monday.
so much. Yes,
All
thank you.
right. Bye, Carmen.
Okay.
Awesome. Let's
I
pray.
hope I'm not too dry. I'm so dry.
Oh, you're so good. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you, God. Thank you for good internet. Thank you for our health, for our food that you've blessed us with. Thank you for Carmen. I pray that you would bless her for her willingness to share, and that you will bless and guide each person who is watching towards what they need, and that you would give them the strength to carry it out, and that you would bless their efforts, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.